Okay, so you can take a seat or lie down and close your eyes. If you want, you can also keep them open. And resting the awareness to the breath. And just becoming aware of that there is something moving through us always. And that actually this place and space is the very thing that is facilitating everything all the time. And it requires completely nothing. At first, to my amazement, but there is just some organizing principle that's moving everything around, and we have to do absolutely nothing. And you know, the day that I realized that was such a happy day, because all I had to do is pay attention to receive the benefits of it. But it didn't require any kind of active participation. It didn't require any kind of routine. It didn't require anything. It was just present in my awareness, and I'm deepening my relationship with that. And if anything is happening, which in some moments I feel like there is so much happening when we zoom into reality, on the other plane, there's nothing happening at all. And, you know, what's what anymore? Who knows really? Does it matter? I don't think so. But the one thing that I can say is that the light that I became aware of, that penetrated my awareness, and that in one way or the other has penetrated yours, whether you experience it as light or you experience it differently. But what it actually does, it dissolves the illusion of me into the light. And that's really all that I can see is happening. And it's quite lovely, you know, especially in the moment that you realize and that you allow yourself to live in the truth that the light is the truth and that the rest is just whatever it is. And that, you know, even on some level, everything that we thought we were isn't actually anything at all, which is a little bit strange to say, but when you pay attention to anything inside you from this place, it actually disappears. It's almost like it alchemizes into light. So then what are we if everything is always in motion? And if all these different things just move through us, and if we are born in a body and then shed our body, and all of this is just, you know, whatever it is, whatever it needs to be, we don't even need to really dialogue about it specifically. But yesterday in the vibrational coaching, something so beautiful happened, and it made me so, so happy. And that is that, you know, if you look at the course of the time that people spend, which by now is years, um, joining that, you can see a shift from focusing on personal topics and moving through whatever there is on that level to not having to experience life through their topics, and instead experiencing the presence, the present moment, the essence. And sort of what is sort of starting to happen is that people start to experience that they are staying there. They're staying there. So it's not like life is not happening, but they're staying in that space. And what happened yesterday is that I said something along the lines of that all of life is just a dance and there's not even a name for it. You know, it's not a salsa. And then it's not a tango, it's not a salsa, I said. And one of the participants said, it's a salsa. And it made me so happy. It made me so happy because when we pull out the focus of our history, of our stories, of what we think we came here to process, and when we get to this place where we can realize that I'm taking a breath, I'm actually in my being, I'm actually in my essence, I'm actually in everything, what happens is creativity, inspiration, joy, silliness, beauty. So from now on, I'm doing the salsa, or I realize I've always been doing the salsa. And so it was a beautiful moment in time where, as much as it seems like that on some level, you seem like you are moving through your topics, it seems like you are integrating your pain body, and on some level, from some perspective, that may very well be exactly what you perceive is happening. But then at some moment, you realize what is actually happening, which is that totality of who you are is just in your awareness, and you stay there. You stay there, and then this shift is completing, this shift is happening, which I always described it as the soul stepping into the forefront and the personality yielding to that, because it's such a powerful experience, the experience of all that you are, or the experience of having no experience, this complete nothing experience thing. And I'm so happy that it starts to really powerfully show itself, not just as a glimpse after a very intense physical or emotional experience, but actually as something that, yeah, of course, I am this being, I am this energy. And so then if I'm this being and this energy, then this human body and these experiences are really just something that I'm playing with and can have fun with, even if I don't have fun. It's all a part of the variety of experiences that we get to have here. But the thing is that the being, the energy, the truth of life that is never touched by it, that is never influenced, is really what we walk around as. And it's taken so many conversations to see that we don't have to touch this layer at all with people until they allow themselves to experience that that is the case, right? Because you can tell someone that we don't have to fuel our life topics or energy, and that they're only issues if we empower there to be. It's great to say it, but the individual at some point loosens the grip, loosens the identification with these layers. And it's just so beautiful to see what version is emerging from that. What version is possible from there? And at the same time, I'm also aware that in that specific call, but in general in life, everybody is in such a different wave of the whole things, and I think that the whole thing moves like waves anyway. In one way, there's always, from our perspective, from the bodily human perspective, there's always this expansion happening, but within that there are a lot of waves. So for some people life is really challenging and something is breaking. For other people something is growing and flourishing, and other people are leaning into stepping into things or not. So in a way, where they find themselves fluctuate, where each and every one of you finds yourself fluctuates, but the expansion that we experience from our perspective of the flesh, it is always happening, even within the waves. This is also why when you invest money, you just put it somewhere and you let it rest. You don't pull out, you go into the ebb and flow of the current of the market, and you are not busy with it or bothered with it. You don't need to touch it. And then you know that over time, anyway, you're going to experience an expansion. That's just how it works. So I see also this life as how it works. And we have the illusion of an evolution, right? Which is a beautiful thing. I personally think I love paying attention to the illusion of evolution that we think we have, just like I love paying attention to the illusion of this life that I think I have and these feelings that I have. or whatever that is. Ultimately, there's nothing of such a sort, you know. At the truth of our being, there is nothing of such a sort. There's no time, there's no evolution. There is just the entirety of the creation or the entirety of the potential of the creation. But I think it is lovely to feel or to observe when this truth enters your life, the truth that doesn't fluctuate, the light itself, and when you start to know yourself as it, what happens inside you in regards to that. And also that you get to have this spacious view where you're not in your own issues, but you are spacious and you can see this whole play of consciousness. To me, it's absolutely fascinating. And to watch, you know, the illusion of evolution in a way that the form that you are is going through, it's so beautiful, you know, and it's so touching. And I feel like we are trending towards lightness, and I feel that we are trending towards lightheartedness. And I also feel like when we finally get this and get more of this and lean into more and more of this, I see everybody's quirkiness emerge, you know. I see everybody's lightheartedness emerge and playfulness emerge. And I think it's so beautiful. I also think it's so beautiful that no matter what we do in the world, and we all have very different things that we do in the world, whether it's parenting or whether we work with people in some capacity, or whether we are actors or writers, creatives, whether we are IT people, like businessmen, like this whole variety has moved through this space here. But what starts to happen is that we start to play with it, that we start to uniquely do what we want to do in it, because this light gives us the freedom. So if we are untouched, untouchable, and if this is all one big playground and I get to create how I wish to be in certain things, then we also really don't need to do it like other people are doing it, whatever that is. And most of the time, I think what we are bringing into the field, or what I see each and every one of you bring into the field that you are dealing with, is a lightness, is not taking everything so serious, is a playfulness. And yeah, it makes me very happy when I picture humanity, a humanity, like a version of our species that really allows themselves to feel that they are light. That's what they are. And the form that this light moves through, that is something that we can play with. And when we don't put the emphasis so heavy on what we think we need to process in this life, right? And I'm not saying that there's no processing going on. I mean, there's a lot of energy moving all the time. But when we don't give it such a big forefrontal meaning, then there's a lot of space to, okay, so this is happening, right? I have to go through the groceries, okay, things that are inside my body have to flow through me, okay. And then there's a lot of space to play and be playful, and to stand in the world in a very different way. All these forms, remembering they are light, stand in the world in a very different way. And when I picture humanity like that, I get so excited. And I know that that's what we are stepping into, you know, in this illusion of evolution, while we are soul salsaing down here. And at the same time, when I enter myself into the world outside of my little cocoon, I see that, wow, humanity is really struggling. You know, when I go into the big city that I haven't done for such a long time, because I had to go see my homeopath. I mean, I had the privilege of seeing this beautiful man that we had an amazing conversation, and it's like, oh, I would have more friends if there were more people like this walking around. And there are, they're going to find us. Anyway, as I'm on the way to this appointment, I have to go into the traffic, into the metro, into the quote unquote big city, and I see how people live. And it's not so playful, and they're not really so aware of their light, and they are frustrated, and there's such a stressed vibe around it. So I also recognize that we have this potential, and what within my bubble and probably also all of your bubbles is very natural is still something that isn't reflected in a global way, in a big way. I think that the seeds the seeds are present everywhere, and the seeds that have been planted start to flourish, but that collectively there is a very big yeah, I don't know, a very big heaviness felt. And I think that if we lay our focus on all this pressure and everything that we feel, and we identify with everything all the time, we take everything so personal, of course it's very heavy. It's also heavy times, and a lot of stuff is happening, and people are confronted with things. And so I feel so blessed, no matter with what challenges it came with in and of itself, and it comes with for me in and of itself. I feel so blessed that I always am in the perception of light. Everything is always lit in my awareness, and I know myself as this light. And I get to remember what I want to feel like in the midst of life and how this essence feels. And I think that for me, embodying this light in some way, it's checking in, it's tuning in, it's feeling into the essence of our souls, the essence of this unified field of this light, however you want to call it. And to dance that dance, to bring those frequencies into my experience of being a human being here. And I think that's a lovely thing to do. So just take a moment and see if you can feel how that translates for you, how your soul feels for you. And maybe for you it feels warm, like a warm, nice bath that you are happening in. Maybe it feels very sparkly, very alive, very joyous. Maybe it feels super still, super expanded. Like it's everywhere. There's some expansion everywhere. It can feel different for everyone. For me, it's always all of these three things. And maybe there's a fourth and a fifth and a sixth way of experiencing it. It's just the three things that I have access to within myself. I can have access to great stillness and spaciousness by just noticing it. I can have access to great warmth and softness just by noticing it. I can have access by light, the manifestation of light that is just sparkling in and around everything by just noticing it. So whatever that is for you. And then starting to see that if this is who and what I am, then how would it translate for me to bring that into my experience? And that doesn't have to look any certain way as far as your human experience goes. It will still go. It will go. Like energies will move through, you will feel things, you will have physical sensations, you will have thoughts, you will have things in the body, things in life. That part will go, right? But what do I want to allow to be present in the forefront? while all of that is happening? What do I want to know myself as? And then also the question that if I know myself as these qualities and properties of my soul, then am I not always just in this beautiful place in space? And I might be crazy when I say that, but I even feel myself in this beautiful place in space, when a week ago I spent 8 hours crying, right? And, often also I don't know why I cry for 8 hours, or I don't know why certain energies are moving through me. And it happens especially on Wednesdays, when these energetic group activations happen. So it doesn't also really matter. But what matters is even in that, even when a lot of things that can feel intense in the experience, even if all of those things happen, what do I, what is my forefrontal experience, And can I allow my essence to be the strongest truth in the room, on a feeling-based level? Because I know for myself, when I allow that, I can actually deal with anything. I can deal with anything. And not just can I deal with anything, I have an appreciation of every flavor. I have an appreciation for the fact that this energy split itself into so many different ways of experiencing, so I can have so many different experiences, And it wasn't always like that. But what would it feel like if it would be, right? What would it feel like for you if you could have that companion, or maybe that deeper truth of yourself, that ultimate identity that you actually are, have in such a strong way with you as experiences are happening, as the illusion of your evolution is unfolding? So just seeing if you can allow whatever that means for you to occur within you. And seeing that there is a possibility and a potential for your experience to start to resonate at the vibration of that truth, that every cell can actually remember and respond to this soulful truth, that your cells can do the solsa. How about that? Just letting your cells do the solsa. Letting your energy field do the solsa. Allowing whatever you thought was your personal frequency to merge with your infinite frequency. To realize that when all is said and done, there is nothing but the salsa. There is nothing but this infinite vibration. And there was nothing there was nothing outside of this infinite vibration before you were aware of it and after, right? The only difference is the awareness and allowing yourself to benefit from this truth experientially. So, also the mental layer doing the salsa. And seeing, of course, that no part of you is discriminated from the salsa. No, this is an all-inclusive dance. And everybody is able to join, or everybody is anyway joining. We can become aware of that this is so. Then allowing for that energy to ripple out, this frequency to just radiate out of your form, because that's how it is, I wrote in my book that the sunshine of God has always been glowing on people's foreheads. And of course, not only on the foreheads, but that is where I could clearly see it at the time. So that's how I wrote it. So the sunshine of God is always glowing outside of you, out of you. It's emanating out of you. Can we get on board with that? Can we lean into that maybe this is actually true? And more than believing it, can we allow ourselves to feel it? Can we allow ourselves to see it? because it's something that you can see, you can see people's souls through your eyes, with your eyes open. So as this is expanding, what we're allowing to expand now is your ability to see people's souls through your eyes, with your eyes open. And it's not just the one that you find cute and adorable. It's actually everything. Everything is like that. Everything glows like that. And for some of you, you can experience this glow very profoundly or on one or two people of in your life, but they're not special. The thing is that when you allow yourself to be this emanation consciously, then it's emanating out of literally every person. The most horrible human being is glowing like, wow, like a light bulb. So expanding that into the neighborhood and seeing that same light emanate out of all of your neighbors, out of all of nature, out of everything that you encounter. And then expanding it to your city, your village, country, continent, the globe. Seeing that this globe is glowing, that this globe is a light bulb. And that every particle in this globe, light bulb thingy, is in on it. Everyone is doing the salsa, whether they're aware of it or not. And it's enough that you are aware of it, because you make it aware everywhere by being aware. Yay. Taking a breath. And on the exhale, start moving down through the layers of the earth, spotting your continent, your country, city, village, street, neighborhood, your house, your room, your body, and letting all of that light fall through your crown, just brushing through the midline into the pelvis and from the pelvis into the earth, like a light beam, just penetrating the earth, saying, hello, I am here, I am light, I am awesome. And from now on, I'm just going to see it everywhere. I'm just going to notice it everywhere. And I'm going to be really surprised when I realize that everyone carries the same amount of it, everywhere, always, at all times. Okay, you can open your eyes, keeping the gaze soft, and slowly bringing your awareness all the way back. Thank you. Thank you.